let's just get into the today's topic, man.
Yes, sir.
Marriage and the indie artist. Marriage and the indie artist. What this is. I don't think I've ever heard a topic around this discussed on like a podcast or entertainment media and that kind of stuff. Like
hmm
it seems very back back channel conversations. Like if me and you were just
Yeah.
kicking it, it's like, yo, baby girl was tripping, or like,
Right.
I love my wife to death type stuff. You know what I mean? Like it just shows up in just more, off the books conversations, not on
Yeah.
platforms like this. But yeah, man, I just, like I said, I've been married for 11 years. How long you guys been married again?
10 years. 10
10 years.
years.
So,
10
so
years
what's the
this
date?
March. March 20th.
March, March 20th. Shout out to
Yeah.
that. That's what's up,
Hey,
man.
yeah. Yes, sir. Not too long
So
ago.
yeah, not too long ago. Ours is June 6th. Yes,
Okay.
June
So y'all
6th.
just passed as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't
So give
forget
it up for
that.
that.
Don't
Yeah,
get in
don't
trouble,
give it
man.
up for that. Give it
Don't
up for marriage, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Uh, we are very, very, very pro marriage on this podcast.
Yes, sir.
And when you started out, like, well, actually, why does this topic even matter for the independent artist? Like, why are we even talking about this?
I think
Why should they
uh
care?
uh I think it's very important because it's one of the most difficult things that can. Now, I wouldn't say I think difficult is the wrong word. I think it's the most volatile thing in your career. It can easily derail it, or it can
Yeah,
easily enhance it and see that it's better. So I do
yeah,
think it's very important to know how to navigate it,
yeah,
because navigating it properly is the difference between sinking and swimming. So I think that's
yeah,
why it has
man.
a heavy importance.
Yeah, and I think everybody's household is different, and
For
value
sure.
system and priorities are different, and
Yeah.
so. But for me, it's like God, my marriage, my kids, everybody else. You know what I mean?
Everybody
Like
else. A
so,
100%.
so but how that marriage piece is managed, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word. Like you were saying, just kind of dictates everything. Because I
Yeah.
know personally, when my wife is like my biggest shit. That was one of the things that probably drew me to her early on. Because my love language is words of affirmation, and when we first met, she was super encouraging for me, but also when she, heard my music, which I can probably go into the story how we met. But when it was actually that night, when we were at
The,
Dinah's crib, whatever,
the
that
game
was
night.
game night when
Yeah.
we first really started to connect. But after, like, we went outside and we were in the car, and I was playing her some of my new stuff, and she was just like, you can tell when somebody's like genuinely excited, not just kind of gas you up. Like she was
Yeah.
really, really excited and encouraging, and that spoke to me heavy. But I know, like, when I have her encouragement, I have her support, especially because doing the independent thing and actually going full time with it, where this is the only
Yeah.
kind of income, or a good majority of your income, or just whatever that is, even if it's partial, maybe it's a 2 income household, but
Right.
one is maybe stable, one is more volatile, aka the indie one, then it could cause a lot of stress, and also some separation, as far as like, I know you're trying to pursue this, independent artist thing, but we got bills, so maybe, what I mean, which we could talk about how to navigate that kind of side of it. But I just know having her as a support system and believing in me so much, even when I didn't believe in myself, she kind of believed in me more.
Yeah.
um, it just helps me to like feel like I can take over the world and show up, with a lot less baggage, as opposed to potentially a spouse that was misaligned. And we can even talk about, when maybe you and your spouse don't have, the same
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
vision, or
Vision.
what I mean.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's huge. I think the same for me. Like, I probably wouldn't have taken the jump if my wife didn't like push me off the ledge. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Really?
yeah, you know what it's like. It's the same thing with like the birds. You know, when a bird is on the edge and they scared to fly. They're like, man, I ain't, I
Yeah.
ain't, I ain't trying to jump. I know I got wings. I know I could probably do it.
Hmm.
And then it's like kick you off the what you call it, and you got to figure it out. That's kind of what it was to a degree.
Yeah.
Because she knew I wanted to do it for a while, and I was doing the dual like 9 to 5, and then came home, um, and was just grinding. And I think I
Yeah.
mean, of course, she's seen like, oh snap, like when you come home, you're also working all these extra hours. You're definitely, I mean, they can see that you're passionate about it. It's not a hobby, and
Yeah.
it's somewhat a part of my identity at the time, um, and how important it was for me to be free. So when it came time to do it, it wasn't no pushback at all.
Mm.
It
Man, that's
was
such a yeah, that's such a blessing, man. Like,
it is.
because I mean, I'm almost like I get like you sharing your story. I get a little emotional about it because I know, like, I know how it feels as an independent artist
Yeah.
to be so, what is it, like, so connected to the dream, and also knowing how hard it is,
Yeah.
and to have somebody who not only made the decision to marry you, but also will believe with you, what I mean, that you can, when it almost feels like everything is against you, the odds are against you,
Yes.
but they show
Yes.
up. What I mean, they show up to say like, nah, we going, like, I believe in you. What I mean, it's like, I
Yeah.
trust you. What I mean, it's like, I want you to do this. That's, it means the world. And I don't want to like minimize that, because it's again, like, not everybody has that. I've heard situations and stories of spouses that are just vehemently against, what I
Yeah.
mean, like,
100%.
somebody's pursuing that direction. And sometimes it could be, I don't say, like, it could be warranted to some degree, because if you're not, and granted, you said something that was interesting. I think you had like the work ethic, probably the discipline, and I'd imagine maybe even some success coming off of the
Yeah.
heels
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was solely just dataless, you know what I mean? But
Right. Right.
but even if it
100%.
was, because I do think, like, faith is that, like, faith is seeing the thing that is unseen, that isn't, in the
Yeah.
natural. And for our wives to have faith in us in that kind of way, where it's just like, even before, even like, shoot, my wife would tell me all the time, like, it was funny. She said something. She didn't mean it this way, but it came across kind of like, oh, all right. Well, she said, because she always, like, bigs me up. It's just like, when I met you, I just knew you were going, like, you had so much potential to be like,
Mm.
this, successful and making a lot of money, doing all this kind of stuff, whatever. She
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
because I married you when you were a designer, a graphic designer, and I was like, oh, well, gee, dang, thanks. You know what I mean? Like, I was like,
You wasn't a rapper then when I
no,
met
it
you.
just mean like, it just meant like you were just a graphic designer. You weren't really making
Ah.
money. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it was funny. She didn't mean it like that. I know what she meant, but I was
Right.
just
Right. For
like,
sure.
but even still, because I wasn't making any money at the time, to be honest. But she was identifying with the fact that, I saw you when you didn't
Mm.
see you. You know what I mean? Like, I saw
Mm.
you, and the you that I'm seeing now, and also the version of you that's still to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
That's
for a
amazing,
wife,
bro.
and I just encourage all of the partners and wives, like, speaking from a male's perspective, like, being able to, like, cheerlead your spouse.
And
Um,
anything.
yeah, man, it just builds them up so much. You know what I mean? Like, it's the fuel, it's the motivation.
It is. That's
Um,
fire.
yeah, man. But go ahead, go
That's
ahead.
fire. No. I was just going off of what it reminded me of a story that you mentioned that. It's just like, I'll never forget. We were at a friend's house. I'm not going to say your name. I promise.
The friend's name.
And yeah, the friend's name. And I was describing to them. I was like, "Hey guys, I'm about to leave my job. I'm about to do this thing." They knew I was a musician or whatever. And
Yeah.
I'll never forget my friend's wife being like, uh, "I mean, yeah, that sounds like a great idea until the bills hit." And I was like, and she's saying this like to my wife.
In front of
And it
your
was
wife.
in front of my wife, right? So it's my wife's friend.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, you know what? I hope my wife I hope she doesn't take that, and be like, she's kind of right.
I
Like,
need
what are
a
you gonna
gun.
do when the Bills hit?
I need a gunshot sound
Yeah,
effect.
we need a gunshot, and we need a bleeding sound effect because that joint scarred me a little bit.
Oh
But
shoot.
because in the beginning I was like, "Dang, you right," and it was my wife when we got in the car to be like, "Yeah, I don't know why she said that. Like, you're gonna do like amazing. It's gonna be fine." And in
Come
my
on,
head, I
man.
said,
Shout out
"Yes."
to the wifey.
Shout
Shout out
out
to
to the
the
wifey, dog. In that moment
wifey.
where I was like, "Man, doubt came in."
Man, bro.
She was
That's
there
so
to be
encouraging.
like, it's super
Oh my god.
encouraging, bro. I feel like I could take on the world at that point.
Dang, dog.
Um,
That's what I'm talking about, man. Like I'm just
yeah,
getting like worked up hearing that. It's just like
yeah, it's incredible, and I
because
just want to give her flowers too.
it weighs so much more, man. Like I've
Yeah.
had situations like that too where I just was like ready to kind of give up on some stuff. And I was actually ready to give up on some coaching stuff at one point. And she was like, "No,
Mm-hmm.
I think you should kind of keep doing that." Well, I was ready to just, you know,
Let it go.
let it go. But I'm glad I didn't, and she was that voice. And there's been times too where she hasn't like we haven't aligned on everything, even with
For
the
sure, for
business
sure.
and all of that. And I can say that those moments are tougher to navigate emotionally for me because the
Mm-hmm.
thoughts that creep in is just like, well, maybe she doesn't
Mm,
really believe in me, and maybe
mm,
I'm mistaken, or maybe because I do believe God speaks through our wives and stuff like that.
for sure. Yeah.
But it does take discernment to kind of like weed through all of that, your emotions, the practical, your wife's
Yeah.
emotions, her wisdom, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. How
100%.
did how did you and your wife meet again?
We met. This is how we met. Funny story. We were both working at the YMCA, bro.
Okay.
So we was watching kids. Speaking of that job, yeah, we met at the YMCA, working 4 hours a day, getting paid, I think, less than $10 an hour, bro. Miserable. Okay, we was not sustaining a life, but I was like 19
Bruh.
at the time. Yeah, horrible, bro. I was like 19 years old, and she was a part of a different friend group. And she's gonna be mad at me for saying this. It is fine. She hated my guts, bro. Like
Oh,
genuinely
really? Why?
hated my guts.
What you do?
She said that I was mean to her. And then when we
Mm.
were working together, we were on the same team, but my boys were on another team. So I would
Okay.
constantly like leave where she's at and go where my boys and work over there.
Uh-huh.
And she would have to take the brunt of some of the work. Yeah. So yeah. So she hated me. So fast forward, that ends. I leave the YMCA and then I'm at my church, and
Mm-hmm.
a door opens and people walk in, and she's part of the group that walks in. And I'm like, "Cindy?"
Mm.
And she's like, "Huh." So what ended up
She was
happening?
like, "What?" She was like, "What?" Who
Yeah,
you
she didn't want to
married,
talk to
bro?
me. Oh, hi, Kadeem. Hi, Kadeem.
Yeah,
She didn't want to talk
yeah,
to me. But what ended up happening, we became part of the same friend group,
yeah. Okay.
and we started hanging out a lot more from there. And then, I worked a little Houdini magic. You know what I'm
Dang, bro. You
saying? A
must have had
little.
some game and shaded your
You
guts.
heard. I had some
Yeah.
game. I walked up. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna display it, but took it to the movies, a couple stuff. You know what I mean?
She
And
saw
then
Rush Hour
10
for the
years
first
later, here
time
we are.
together.
Yeah, we watched Rush Hour together. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right, brother.
Yeah, it was the Great Gatsby that I took her to see. So that's how far back that is.
You know the meme, the little
And that,
Leonardo meme?
yeah, the Leonardo meme, bro. So yeah, that's how far back we go. So that's how we met, and it's been all she wrote. No pun intended.
Did your wife and my wife know each other? I know you and Yaz knew each other, but I didn't know if she knew
Yeah.
your wife.
I actually think it was right around that time that me and my wife met. Was shortly after I was hanging with that friend group. So I'm not
Okay.
sure if they met. I'm not sure if they met actually.
I have to ask
We're
her.
in the
Okay,
same.
cool.
We were in the same circle, so we know the same people. But yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's it's interesting during that time. This was like 2011, 2012 or something like that.
yeah.
When I met Yaz, and she was actually kind of checking for me. I had no clue who she was. So, me
Hmm.
and Frank, Florida boys. We were doing music in the area,
Yeah,
and the scene was like way more lit than I think it is now. But
for
I'm not
sure.
really
Yeah.
in the scene, so I couldn't really comment on it. But
Right, right, right.
it was active, and so I was moved down from Virginia to Florida. Started performing in different areas, different churches, different events, and there was like this connection between the Orlando and Tampa crew,
Yes,
and
sir.
she, I think, had maybe either seen me perform or just saw me around the mix or something like that, and I just caught her attention, and she was started doing her research, because she's
Yeah,
my wife is an investigator, dog.
yeah.
Yeah, she'll
Yeah,
uncover or overturn every stone to get the answer to something and ask
yeah.
a million questions. And so I remember she said she hit y'all up. You and it was you and was it Clarity? Was it y'all?
It's, yeah,
I
me
think
and Kenny.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, just kind of like is getting the scoop on me, and I think we had known each other kind of a bit in
yeah.
passing, and all that kind of stuff, and
It's like,
y'all
oh,
y'all was the wingman,
you like
yeah,
Deraj? We're gonna set this up.
yeah,
Yeah, I
man,
remember that.
y'all was the
Yeah,
wingman. I
it was
appreciate.
a whole mission, bro. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
look,
I
hey, look
appreciate
at the
y'all.
fruits.
I
Yes,
think
sir.
Dinah even put in a good word. And
Yes,
so long
sir.
story short, like she hit me up on Facebook. We started, connecting a little bit, and then she invited me to a game night out there in Tampa. And that's when, sparks flew. It wasn't even initially like it was it's such a I don't want to be long winded with it, but like when we first got there, I feel like I remember seeing you, and then she came in later than I did. I remember her coming in, and I had an expectation. I thought it was gonna be like she's gonna come up to me the out, but she kind of kept it moving. And I was just
Dodging
like,
you?
not like yeah, she was just kind of doing her
It's
thing, and
nerves. Yeah,
we
yeah,
did it was nerves more than anything, and so in the
yeah.
majority of the night, it was just kind of like just small little interactions. It wasn't as intentional as you would thought
Hmm.
for somebody who invited you out to a thing.
Right,
And
right.
then but I took the initiative, and I remember sitting down on the steps, and that's when we got a chance to talk. And then we went out in the car earlier where I was saying I was playing her music, and then I remember driving
Mm.
home with Terrell Commissary. Shout out Commissary.
Commissary, dog. Shout out to
He,
commissary, bro.
yeah, he's doing sync licensing too. So he does sync
Yeah,
licensing
yeah.
as well.
Dope,
But
dope.
him and I rode down together. I remember riding back, and I was just like, man, I think I really like this chick, because we were texting, on the way
Hmm.
home. He was driving and stuff like that. And yeah, man, like 13 years later, because we were dating for 2 and married for 11. So,
Mm.
but yeah, man.
Hey,
So,
a beautiful story, bro. Clap it up to that, bro. We need a claps
oh,
for that, bro.
hold up, man. Hold up,
Come
man.
on
Where my
now.
applause at? Where my
Come
applause
on.
at?
Run the applause, bro.
Yeah, man.
Look where we at. The beauty, bro.
So, what's some words of wisdom, or just some tips, whatever it is, of like artists who are maybe aspiring to be married, who are married, that are independent artists that want
Mm.
to have great a great marriage, one, just period, but also strategies on how to navigate being an artist while being married.
Yeah,
um
yeah, yeah.
what does that look like?
The reality check is when you do get married, the world does not revolve around you anymore. I think
Mm,
that's step number one. Your
mm,
artistry now comes. Your artistry will comes in. It should. It better come second to your marriage. Okay. Now, does
yeah,
this mean you throw your dreams aside? No, it doesn't. But just know that it comes second. When you do prioritize it second, I promise you,
yeah,
a healthy marriage will breed a better artist career
yeah,
because you will have the support, you'll have the understanding, you'll have the drive, you'll have your why. You know what I'm saying? Like your why of your why you're doing this, and who you're doing it for in terms of getting out of a funk or grinding.
hmm,
So I would just the only takeaway as a new if you are in a relationship planning on getting married or want to get married, just know your artistry is gonna have to take a back seat, but
hmm,
you will see where you will move further
yeah,
um if you
yeah, man.
prioritize it properly. Yeah. So
Prioritize your marriage. If you're
yeah.
a wife with a husband, like prioritize your husband, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And you'll start to see like I mean, it's just the law of reciprocity. You know what I mean? It's like if
Yeah.
giving of yourself, if you're choosing to love, if you're meeting one another, or excuse me, your spouse, and like it's I feel like usually it's only a matter of time before they potentially want to reciprocate back, and
Yeah. Yeah.
they'll essentially know what you know uh, is uh is important to you, aka your music career. So you'll probably build an advocate out of them if you don't already have it. But
100%.
that's a good word too, because I remember when, I think even before my wife and I got married, I kind of let her know, and I don't think she was looking for this, but I just kind of said this to her. I was just like, if I ever had to just leave my music career or any of that kind of stuff, like like our marriage is over top of my music career, like, and it's
Facts.
still like that today. But yeah, and it's funny too. I remember I had this is super random. I was just thinking about it, but I don't know. Like, you and your wife met at the YMCA, so she
Yeah.
probably knew you as your government. When my wife, before we
Met
were
you as.
married, she met
Yeah.
me as Deraj, and so I remember she used to call me Deraj, and I said, "Yo, don't call me Deraj," like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was something different. I was like, "Don't call me
Yeah.
Deraj," which should have
That's
been
crazy to
mad.
actually think, because like I know your government, but in my head I'm always just like Deraj. Even when I
Yeah,
read it, yeah. So I get it. I get that.
yeah, which it actually is my government. It's just spelled backwards for those who don't know.
Right.
That's a
Right.
little
Right.
Easter egg.
Yeah. Yeah. And my name is
Um,
not Frank at all. But
which I didn't know that for the longest. I think I might not have known that until we started working together on the music side, and you sent me your
really,
writer's
oh, and you
information.
see the
I saw
metadata. You be
Kadeem.
like,
I was like, "Who the freak is Kadeem,
who is
bro?"
Kadeem? That's
Like, how you get
crazy.
an artist name and it just sounds like a regular name? Like, why you do
Facts. I love it.
that?
I love it.
it's
I
the
love
it's
it.
a fire name, but you confused the
And
mess out of me.
yeah, I think it's so crazy about this title. I don't want to go too far ahead, but like family definitely influenced my name.
All right, talk to me about that.
So yeah, so I mean, even in terms of being married, in a biblical sense, of course, being married, and then we had kids.
Mm.
My name is directed off my first son. So when I'm long gone, he'll get the royalties off of my name. I have it set up like that.
Wait, hold on.
Um,
What's your
my
son?
son's name is Bentley. Yeah. So my
Let's
son's name is
go.
Bentley. Yeah,
That's
my son's name is Bentley.
hard. Shout
And
out
the crazy
Bentley.
part, shout out to Bentley. The crazy part about that story, I was with my wife, and we went to the beach, and we were doing our gender reveal, and we popped the balloons. We found out we were having a boy, so I knew his name was going to be Bentley because we didn't know what we were going to have, and I was like, yeah, his name's going to be Bentley. And I don't know who said it. One of my friends was like, "Man, Bentley's a fire name. Like that should have been your artist name." Like, and I was like, you know what? There was like we
Farnsworth
were just
Bentley.
right. We were just like joking around, like frankly, like you're Bentley's dad, and you. I said,
Oh,
hold on, Frank.
frankly,
Yeah, and I was
that's
like,
a bar,
so
bro.
I said, oh snap, Frank Bentley, and then I'm gonna put everything in his name, so when he older, he don't got to worry about nothing. He'll collect royalties, and I was like, you know what? That's what we running with. So in lieu of everything, the beauty,
I like that. I
yeah,
like
the
that.
beauty of meeting my wife, her, us making Bentley and having that is just a full circle into my artist life and my career. It's wonderful. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Direct
it's
one to
dope.
one. That's
Yeah, it
crazy, dude.
is. It's dope.
So we were talking about just tips to help with a healthy marriage as an
Yeah.
independent artist. One of the things I always, this is just, I think, just marriage advice 101. I noticed at times when me and my wife are at odds, or there's some friction
Mm-hmm.
or any arguments we have, typically at the root of it is always because of mismanaged expectations. You know what I mean? It's like, I
100,
don't
1000.
care what it is you're arguing about, whether it's the toilet seat being up or down,
Yeah.
or you know, I the differences of raising your child, to some even whatever
Anything.
problem, fill in
Yeah.
the gap at the root of it, at the core of it. It's mismanaged expectations. I
Yeah.
expected you to do this and you didn't. I expected you to respond this way and you didn't. And
Yeah.
now I'm upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think the better you get at being able to clearly articulate your expectations and your spouse to be able, or your partner to be able to do the same, it's helpful to kind of diffuse a lot of potential arguments. And this is one thing, and this is not an original thing, but shout out to my boy and his wife, Ladarius and Alice. She actually has um, a community and a initiative she built called the Love Journal, and also I think it's actually called Stay Connected. So she helps married couples. They do retreats, and so I think they just came back from the DR. They took some
Dope.
couples out there to help just sow into their marriage, but they're so pro marriage, and thankfully we had them in our corner early on when me and my wife were together, and still to this day. But they had this thing that they were doing called a marriage eval. Like, it was a literal document. And so
Yeah, yeah,
they would go through it. I think, I can't remember the rhythm. I don't know if it was like every week or every month or something like that. They suggest it, but it literally goes through like all of the probably problem or potential areas of marriage that can cause problems if they're
yeah.
unchecked, which, from, what is finances to what did you do for me, that I appreciated, what didn't you do, how is
Mm,
sex,
yeah.
like all of the things. And they advise you to do it in a public setting versus doing it at home, just
Wow.
because you're less likely to pop off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there's rules of engagement to it as well. It's like you fill it out ahead of time, and then you have a designated time and place to kind of talk to it, and each person gets a chance to talk uninterrupted and hear from one another and stuff. And I tell you, like, we would do this consistently, and it did volumes for us,
Mm,
um, for
that's
our marriage
beautiful.
now, so that we've avoided, I think, a lot of stuff. And obviously there's things where, I feel like in this season, because again, we were married for 10 years before we had our first daughter, but the issues that we have now are because of the new dynamic. Like, we
Right.
bump heads more so because of how to raise our daughter, less about some of the other stuff of just, us being
Right.
married. You know what I
Y'all
mean?
10
This
years
is
in. Yeah. Yeah.
right. Now it's just like I'm getting frustrated because she didn't want her to cry it out and I do, you know what I mean? Or she's
Mm,
getting frustrated with me because, fill in the blank, so, but yeah, so that's one thing I feel like managing expectations. So how that business look in your artist career, like,
yeah, that's huge, bro.
yeah, like, I'm trying to think of an example specifically around your artist career, because we did have intentional conversations around like what that would look like and even the timing of me, going full time with music was
Hmm.
a joint conversation, but also we kind of scaffolded to it. So the
Yeah.
income I was making through licensing and all this other kind of stuff started to rival what I was getting paid in my job.
Yeah.
And we were looking at the whole picture and just felt comfortable, like, yo, it's kind of sustaining itself. Let's try this. I
Let's
believe in
run
you.
it.
Let's run it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, I think especially tying it into managing like the expectations. I think there have been multiple times where, especially in this world of being an indie artist, like there's times where you fall short of expectations, and you gotta wear that on the chin. Like,
Yeah.
oh, and it's happened very early on. I don't do it anymore because I don't get excited until the check hit. You know what I mean?
Oh, shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's many times where you're like, oh, this is coming in, so don't worry about this. I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna handle this, and we're gonna be able to do this, 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 and this. Yeah, that was yeah. So it's
yeah.
like, um, understanding each other in it. I think she has grown because she now understands the business more. She knows what, like, oh, you're my,
Mm,
she knows my royalty
that's
check. She knows
good.
publishing. You know what I'm saying? So she's like,
Yeah.
oh, you got that sync. Well, it's probably gonna
Couple
be a couple
months.
of months. Yeah, I'll be like,
Right.
yeah, it's like a net 30, net 60. She'll be like, oh, okay. So we don't put that here. Don't
Yeah.
plan for that here. Let's do that. And I think the expectation in us growing was her understanding that. Now her expectation has shifted because
This is
early
good.
on, when I got the deal, she was like, "Oh, your check gonna be in tomorrow. Oh, well, I can breathe easy knowing this. Nah,
Hmm.
I still got to
Book that
figure
trip
this
to
out.
Cabo. Let's
Yeah, no, we
go.
can't book the trip to Cabo yet. You know what I'm saying? And I think, and I love her for it, bro, because I have seen where situations where I have dropped the ball, um, and I'm in those situations again, and now she navigates it out of love for me, just
Mm,
makes the whole process easier. Like when something falls through, because in this business, let's be honest, you can be like, "Hey, we're gonna give you this," and then you get an email that's like, "Nah, we got to push it back," and
right.
then people don't realize how you then got to bring back that news to your family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So navigating that all together is just uh it's been a journey for sure, but navigating the expectations is imperative. And
Yeah,
I'm
man.
thankful for how she does it, bro.
Yeah, man. And
Yeah.
shout out like to our wives because it's not.
It ain't
um
easy.
yeah, it's not easy because of the. And this is, I think this is why I knew this going into it. I always wanted to figure out a way, and I think that's why I'm so big on this word sustainability, because I know that's what, like when
Yeah.
we interview, and it's on purpose. Like we interview a ton of independent artists, and the number one thing that they want is sustainability in their music
Yeah.
career, and is mainly around monetizing. And it's something that I knew going into, and I was always trying to figure out like how can I make my artist career somewhat similar to like my 9 to 5, in a sense where we kind of knew what was coming in and what we could plan
Right.
off of, which is sometimes easier than others. And and I think it also allowed me to learn how to diversify within the space that we're in, aka licensing, where I had some stuff on like a platform like MusicBed, which pays monthly royalties, and I got some stuff in production music libraries, which pays like
Yeah.
quarterly back end stuff, and then we got the one offs, upfronts that come,
Yes.
every 60 days, 90 days, whatever the runway is, and so you can kind of create a situation, what I mean, if you get scrappy enough, um, but it is just a thing to know, and I think it's again, that's why I always equate what we do as independents as just building business, because anybody who's building any type of company, any type of business, they got to think through
Yeah.
those revenue streams and how to create predictability for payroll. You know what I mean? When they got employees on the line who need to feel their, it's like if
Yeah. Yeah.
you're leading your own thing and you're the person building the company that other people are
Yeah.
benefactors from, you take all of the risks. Everybody gets the benefit of that risk and gets sustainability because you
Yeah.
endure a lot of volatility and uncertainty and stress and all that kind of stuff. You know what I
Mm.
mean? But it's again, it's not unique to us, but it's just stereotypical because we are just seen as like, artists who are just trying to figure this thing out. But we're just
Yeah.
business owners trying to scale a business, at the end of the day.
Facts. Facts. And I think loving on the artist side, because I know we were talking a lot about what our spouse do for us and how we navigate that. I do think that as an indie or just as a business owner, loving my family back. I don't do this perfectly, by the way.
Yeah.
Loving my family back would is me putting the importance on adding some form of comfort when it comes to the predictability. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
In my music, using my career, how can I love my wife back and give her peace of mind is to create systems and sustainability
hmm.
to then put her at ease. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's why you were saying like quarterly checks. She knows when they coming in. All right.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, babe, next month is my royalty. Oh, really? Yes, and that's guaranteed. You know,
Yeah. Right.
that's
Right.
you know what I'm
Right. Right.
saying? That's coming. You know what I'm saying? So just doing that and navigating that is just as a business owner is a way that I can love back through my business. Outside of everything else, outside of what I do, I can make sure my wife feels that the same way that I felt her support in moving forward. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a
Yeah.
push and a pull. You help me and push me, and I'll make sure you feel comfortable, and that's the balance.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
does your work? Does your wife work as well, or is it
yeah. She's
solely?
a she works as an occupational therapist.
Okay. Okay. So
So
we got.
she
I know both our wives are kind of in the medical adjacent
yeah,
spaces.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's it.
she kind of works when she wants to.
Hmm.
And with whenever we got like a big trip coming up, she'll pick up as much hours as she can, and then
Yeah.
whenever we have a slow season, she has that freedom to be like, well, when Bentley starts school, I want to be home more. You know what I'm saying? Which
Yeah.
is, I take pride in being like, if you want to stay home, then I'll do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
just, we'll make it work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
That's beautiful. And
yeah,
one thing that comes to mind, and we can start, landing the plane a bit, but when I'm thinking about you were talking about how adding, a bit of predictability and comfort to, your household and your wife and your family is priority. And that's as one thing I want to encourage all artists who are listening to this as well. Like, I don't like the mindset always of like, to make it full time, you gotta like just jump and take the risk and like,
yeah,
just get it out of the mud and just like in one sense I do, because there's elements of that that's a part
yeah,
of it. Like you do have to take a jump at some point in time, but that's not void of you planning. Like you can
right,
actually plan to take the jump.
right,
You can figure out what you need as far as your living expenses. You can figure out
yeah,
and kind of do some
yeah,
research on like how often does payouts happen with
yeah,
distributors, with PROs, like what are the potential streams that we could be leveraging to make our lives a little bit more predictable and stable, and
mm-hmm,
potentially build some ideas towards that direction. You won't, it's like the metaphor. You can't see the label from inside the bottle. You know what I mean? So there's certain things
mm,
you just aren't going to know on this side of entrepreneurship, until you just you jump and you experience it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's okay. But there are there's wisdom in planning, doing research, and anticipating the
yeah,
knowns, answering the questions that at least you do have, versus stressing over the things that you just have no, you're not
control
stressing
over,
over, yeah, stressing over the things you don't know. So that's why I encourage, you know, like interview. That's, I mean, part of why we even did this podcast is like exposing what, entrepreneurship, full-time entrepreneurship as an indie looks like. Trying to talk with people who have made the leap and seeing what's worked for them and what hasn't worked for them. Like finding coaching, mentoring, all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Like it'll help you be more prepared, and also will probably give your spouse a bit more confidence and encouragement to say like, well, they put some thought to it. It's not just like, man, I just got this dream. You know what I mean? It's like you can go broke, you know what I mean, off of a dream. You know what I
yeah, you
mean?
can,
And but the dream is there as motivation and to get you, to draw you towards the thing that's for you.
yeah,
But the planning and preparation is going to help you sustain it, or going to help you sustain the dream. You know what I mean?
yeah, 100%. I'm behind that 1,000%, and I think moving forward as an independent artist, it's imperative to and we talk about it often. The mindset, all of this is a mindset shift in terms of understanding what you might need. Like there's certain things in this business you can't control,
Yeah,
but the things that you can control, you need to be on, like, optimize it, make it as best as you can, and streamline what you can for the sake of your family, for the sake
yeah,
of your spouse, and for the sake of their well-being. And that is how you build a legacy through your career,
yeah.
and making sure that everyone is taken care of. So if you don't got that together, get that together.
Get that together.